Good evening, this is Artie Lang speaking after an extensive trip into rehab. Now below £699 of bloated, drug-induced euphoria, and having missed only 6 days of work in 4 years, I find myself in the phenomenal, gorgeous golden hallways of the $6.99 studio, just to the northwest of Blake Coram Championship Boulevard. April 7th, 2024, marks a once-in-a-100-year silver bull market and generational wealth transfer. Are you on the winning side? Old Vincenzo urges you to smash that like button, subscribe down below, super chat to support the channel, and keep the truth and integrity flowing as we build an army of Truth One jabroni killer at a time. See, yes, ponder, why gold and silver bullion? How can I change your life for you and your family? Turning what seems to be small amounts of money into generational wealth that can be passed down from generation to generation with a simple handoff of precious, beautiful, gorgeous
silver bullion market now after that great subscribers commenting down below and getting involved into the channel, building this company block by block. Jabroni Killer membership, best value $2.99 by Jabroni Killer on truth and integrity and education and information, most importantly. And you can see if we zoom out in the silver bullion market, you can see what we're looking at. The silver bullion market's been out for a very long time, and it trades almost every day. So there is a lot of information when you're looking at the bullion market versus some of the cryptos that just came out. You really, to see what's going on in the market, you really have to go out to a longer term time frame. But you can see what's going on in the bullion market, the silver and gold, and specifically silver bullion. Here is we have this beautiful graph we made for you, and if we dissect it a little bit, you can see we've had an obvious, humongous uptrend in silver because it's a base metal necessary for life on this planet, because it is used and has intrinsic value, and it's used as money and an inflation hedge because it goes up, because it's finite, it goes up with the money supply, so it always, over a long enough period of time, goes up. And you can see just from all the way back at its low back here in the 40s, if you still had that same silver bullion, it would be up 7,400%. And you say, yeah, you could buy some stocks that do that in a week. Yeah, but then they go bankrupt in 2 weeks. Silver bullion is never going bankrupt, and silver bullion is never going to go to zero. Silver bullion can go up and down 50% over a short period, but the bullion itself over 25, 30 years will always go to the upside. And that's what you see here in the ups and downs when it was much more thinly traded, because it was a lot harder to trade. It wasn't like it is now. But you pumped up here into the 70s. And what's very interesting, if you look at the silver bullion market, is things that happen economically and financially and fiscally affect the bullion market extremely fast and extremely powerful. But it is also a heavily manipulated market, just like the cryptocurrencies are, because the criminal gangsters, the market manipulators, have infiltrated the bullion market too. And specifically JP Morgan back in the 60s and 70s, when there was loose fiscal policies for one of the first times that we were going off the gold standard, when they signed that temporary in the legislation. But the dirty little secret is there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government situation that they implement, and we went off the gold standard. And JP Morgan was long in silver and pumped the price. But you can see the money printing in the 60s and 70s, specifically in the mid-70s, that caused hyperinflation and dollar devaluation at historical and unprecedented for the time in the history of the United States dollar. It almost collapsed the dollar and made the dollar essentially go to zero and become useless as far as purchasing power is concerned. And that's what got Ronald Reagan elected after the peanut farmer one-termed it, because of the hyperinflation that was going on. So Reagan and Paul Volcker, the Fed chairman at the time that he appointed after winning the election, hiked interest rates, slashed spending, and soared the interest rates over 20% to buy a house as a mean price. Right? But silver bullion skyrocketed because of that, right? But every time it skyrockets, after a huge pump in a financial crisis, after it calms down and the government says they've given us the solution to whatever that said solution is, which is usually vastly lowering interest rates and then slowly over time starting to stimulate the economy, and then more and more rapidly as time goes on. that forces the price of silver bullion down. And just like JP Morgan understands and is the banking cartel hedgeman, leader and a henchman, because he's JP Morgan Chase, right? JP Morgan and Chase. He knew to be long on the bullion here. And then at the same time, the markets were about to elect Ronald Reagan, and JP Morgan knew they were going to get tough on inflation. They started buying. They started unloading silver bullion here on the long position, and they started slowly buying short positions in the futures market here on the bullion, right? And then after this final squeeze to the upside, squeezing all the pre-shorts out, the retail traders of the time that were trying to outsmart the market got forced out. And as they were getting forced out and their shorts were turning into buys, JP Morgan was selling all of their longs at the same time and buying puts into the futures market, knowing that they were going to force the price of bullion down, as they were the largest owner of bullion at the time, and they dumped that physical bullion into the open market, knowing it was going to flood it and not have enough buyers to buy the physical bullion, and it would drive the price down and drive their price of their puts skyrocketing. And then as they started to slowly sell their puts, cashing in those sold puts turns into buys, open buy orders, and it stabilized the price. And then they started to go long, and the price skyrocketed again, leading into the next financial crisis a couple of decades later, right? About 20 years later. And then you had your mountain double top, but you had financial crises of the loose monetary policies of the 60s and 70s corresponded with manipulation from the JP Morgans using the calls and puts on the bullion market to force the price up and then to suppress the price down, as he sold it all to the retail traders in the late 70s and early 80s, 80, 81, 82. And then he flushed it on the retail trader and drove them into a line of submission and forced forced a generation and a half to two generation of people out of buying physical bullion or physical gold bullion as an inflation hedge, or as a way to put a small percentage of their portfolio, a small percentage of their cash holdings into physical bullion and hold it for all eternity to hold their standard of living as sort of a safekeeping and an alternative to their 401ks. An alternative to their savings accounts, to their real estates, and to their other investments, something that's tried, tested, and true since the Lord Jesus Christ walked the earth. Physical gold and silver bullion always, I repeat, always goes up in value over a long enough period of time versus a set currency in set region of country, right? But here's some of the gold and silver bullion, and I am very bullish on silver. I think we're going to have $100 silver within the next couple of years, and I think we're going to hit $50 per ounce in silver within the next 12 months. And I have a $35 silver target by the end of the summer, and maybe $40 by the end of the year. And here's companies that I do own. B2 Gold pays a healthy dividend for a gold company. B2 Gold pays 5.63% as a dividend, which is a very healthy dividend for the gold field. I own about 2,000 shares of this, but it's been in a big downturn since the COVID pump. You can see here, you see the COVID dump with everything else, and then the hyper pump off its bottom at nearly 4 or 5x itself off the flash crash, flash flush. And you notice, like we talked about as a technical trading rule, often there's a flash flush or a flash pump. At the same time, there's going to be a market reversal. And we had a 54.93% flash flush. And at the same time that was happening, that was signaling the market reversal, because you had a quick wick to the downside, and then you had the biggest bull market in Bitcoin history as you went up nearly 253.71% from that flush bottom after driving out all the weak hands, all the calls, all the leverage traders, and all the people that were just trying to get rich got wiped out as a small amount of people got loaded, and those same people that got wiped out in this flash flush crash bought back from the people that knew what was going on the whole time and was just strategically buying at the same time into B2 Gold, and then they rode the pump, right? But B2 Gold, I think, is a phenomenal company, and it's sitting on major support and resistance levels, and it's trying to fight off and hold it as support. It bit it the first time, pumped up, couldn't hold it, and it's come back down here, and it's trying to bounce back on it again and hold it as support, because this is the mean of the trading volume. And we know through the cryptos what happens if you break the mean of the trading volume. it has a big flush down into the next supply zone, and the next supply zone is right there where that little stick of candle is, right? And that's down there at $1.60. I think we're going to find the buyers or the bulls, and I think it's going to force the price back up, and we're going to be threatening by the end of the year maybe $4 per B2 gold. But this is a very good company. If this does dip down into here below $2, I'm just going to buy some more like I've been doing for the last 5 years in B2 Gold. Kinross Gold, I have 400 shares of this company, and it's a very, very good company. They do pay a dividend too, and for a gold company or a silver mining bullion company, it's very rare. You can see all time it's up 70%. In 5 years, it's up 84%. The last year, it's up 35.31%, and my account has been doing very well because I've had this position for a very long time. I've been adding into it, but I haven't bought in a long time because it's been going up now steadily. But you can see in Kinross Gold, we've right where we're at with the B2 Gold. Kinross Gold has been in the same area, and it's fighting, and it's continuing to fight, holding support along the major mean of the trading, and that's why this line's here too. And we've bounced again like we did back here, only to get rejected. But I think B2 Gold, anytime it's in this orange trading box, is a phenomenal time to buy. And if you haven't bought any to this yet, it's a phenomenal time to buy anytime it's below the moving averages in the monthly time frame or the daily time frame. Or in or below the orange trading box. But this is a very, very good company. Could this thing slip? Because this thing is still suppressed. Gold is at all-time highs, gold bullion. But Kinross Gold is not anywhere near its all-time high. It's not anywhere near its COVID pump, which means to me these companies are vastly, vastly undervalued because they are good companies. They pay healthy dividends, which means they make money, right? And they mine precious gold and silver bullion. And gold is at an all-time high, nearly touched $2,400 an ounce. But we're still 5x away from the old all-time high in Kinross Gold, right? The same thing with First Majestic Silver. But the beautiful thing about the silver mining stocks is they run. They run fast to the upside and they tank fast to the downside. And you can see how fast we've just run recently. And now we're coming up to major overhead resistance. This is a major holding of mine of over 500 shares. And even with this last little pump here, and we're up almost 60% on this position, it's up 70% since it bounced off its major trading area. But it's still down because silver hasn't had the hyper pump like gold bullion has. Silver bullion lags gold bullion in commodity bull markets, right? We're still 2.5%, 2.5 times below its all-time high. And something I think could happen in First Majestic Silver. And this is why First Majestic Silver, Fortuna Silver, and then I have one other silver mining company. I went heavily into this is I think the silver mining companies, the ones that are good, are going to run and run big. And you could see a massive run in a First Majestic Silver. And instead of stopping at 15 or 20, you could have a hyper pump and then have a new plateau where $20 to $18 is its new floor, and then it starts to trade like this in a once-in-a-generation silver bull market, blow off euphoria retail traders that forces the price in the mining sector through the moon. Fortuna Silver, it has come up big, and it's come up big quick because that's what Fortuna Silver and these mining companies, silver mining companies do. They jump and they jump big quick. And this one has, and it probably will continue. You can see how quick it jumped here in 2016 and how quick it jumped here in 2021 COVID pump. But then look how fast it dumps over a year and a half. Look how fast it dumps over a year and a half. You do not buy the pump. You do not buy the pump. You do not buy into the pump unless the pump has just started, and then you ride the pump and you sell it. Like, subscribe, and share to this valuable, most important cryptocurrency, gold and silver bullion here. To my deepest loyal, all of my beautiful members, subscribers, commenters, and jabroni killers. Peace and love to my beautiful audience.